Now ain't this a surprise?
There are already plenty of different and interesting races to choose from in Skyrim, from slimy water-breathing lizards to hardy humans based on the Vikings of old. However, PS4 modders decided that wasn't enough and went ahead and added even more races, from a literal playable spooky scary skeleton race to a hybrid race of half elf and half human. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of the fantastic mods that you'll discover in these videos. In this video, I will be showing you the 10 best race mods that PS4 has to offer. But before I do, I should warn you that using any mod that adds a completely new custom race to Skyrim on PS4 will break a few quests in the game, stopping you from progressing. These quests include the Dark Brotherhood quest to kill an empire and the Vampire faction quests in the Dawnguard DLC. There is nothing that modders can do about this, thanks to Sony's ridiculous ban on external assets. With that out of the way, let's get started. First up is Playable Blood Elf Race by Imperial Agents 1992. Those of you that have played World of Warcraft may recognise this race, as this mod is heavily inspired by the Blood Elves from that game. The lore and backstory provided for the race in the race menu is taken straight from World of Warcraft lore. In the world of Tamriel, Blood Elves are powerful mages with some really interesting perks that would make for an interesting purely Magicka focused playthrough. The Blood Elves' base stats are 150 health, 550 Magicka, and 150 stamina. They also have starting skill bonuses with an additional 30 points in destruction, 10 in restoration, enchanting, smithing and conjuration, and 15 in one-handed and light armor. Blood Elves are born with an extra 100 points in Magicka, which brings the race's starting Magicka up to 650. They have a 5% bonus to destruction spell damage, they have a natural 5% resistance to all damage, and they are automatically granted the boon of the Mage Stone, which allows them to learn mage skills 20% faster. The Blood Elves' racial power allows them to regenerate Magicka faster for 432,000 seconds or 5 days, so it's pretty much a constant power that allows you to always regenerate Magicka faster if you keep reapplying it every time it runs out. Imperial Agents has included a chest which can be found in the Drunken Huntsman with some clothing that suits the race and its focus on Magicka, and 2 conjuration spells, Bound Staff of Fireball and Bound Blood Elf Dagger. The Blood Elf Dagger uses the very unique Dragon Priest Dagger model, and the staff uses the Conjuration Staff model instead of a Destruction Staff, despite being a staff of fireballs. Just be careful when taking the clothing, as it will count as stealing, and the owner of the Drunken Huntsman may just strip you naked. All of these bonuses and the spells and clothing provided in the chest set you up as a very powerful mage, which is perfect for a heavily Magicka focused build. If that sounds good to you, give this mod a download. The second mod on this list is Half Elf by Supertramp. Have you ever wondered why there aren't any mixed race people in the Elder Scrolls? Are people so racist in Tamriel that they refuse to have a child with another race? While sadly that is actually partly true, in the rare occurrence that 2 different races do have a child together, the child will just be born as one race or another. It will never be a mix of its parents' races. I think we can all agree that that's really boring, so this mod makes mixed races possible in Tamriel by introducing half elves, the offspring of elven and human parents. With this in mind, the mod has been designed to give this race a balance of human and elven features in their appearance and in their natural abilities and resistances. The mod even adds half elves to the bandits leveled list, so you won't be the only member of your race in Skyrim, although half elves will still be very uncommon. The half elves base stats are 100 health, 125 magicka, and 100 stamina. They also have starting skill bonuses with an additional 5 points in restoration, one-handed archery and sneak, and an additional 10 points in illusion and speech. The half-elves' racial power, dark vision, allows them to see in the dark for 10 seconds. However, unlike most racial powers that can only be used once a day, this power can be used multiple times a day. The race's blended blood also grants them a very useful 30% resistance to magic. This is a cool race mod that does fit into the Elder Scrolls world really well, despite not necessarily being lore friendly. If you've ever wanted to play as a half human, half elf in Skyrim, now's your chance. Next up, we have Imperial Wolf Race by Cyberus UK. Have you ever wanted to be able to play as a werewolf from the very beginning of the game? For those of you that are big fans of running around as a big smelly dog in Skyrim, this is a really great choice for a custom race. The background for this race, described in the mod's description, is: leaving your pack in Cyrodiil, you have come to Skyrim to find a new way to live, with hopes of leaving the wolf behind you. Looking to start a new life as a trader, things take an unfortunate turn for the worse when you are caught crossing the border, in custody of fellow Imperials and heading towards the chopping block. Will you be able to keep the wolf silent? You should know that you don't have to be an Imperial, there are also Nord and Orc versions of this race. The Imperial Wolf's base stats are 100 health, 80 magicka and 120 stamina. They also have starting skill bonuses, with an additional 5 points in destruction, restoration, smithing and block, and an additional 10 points in one-handed and plus 15 points in heavy armour. The Imperial Wolf also has a few neat powers. Of course they have the beast form power, but they also have Instinct of the Wolf, which is a unique spell that only costs 1 magicka per second that allows you to smell and detect enemies. Night Eye, which allows you to see even in the darkest of nights, even in human form, and finally the vanilla Imperial power, Voice of the Emperor, which calms all nearby people for 60 seconds. The Imperial Wolves also have a few bonus active effects, which are Lichen Claws, which allow you to do 15 points of unarmed damage and gives you the Khajiit unarmed animation, which is a nice touch. You also get Imperial Luck, which allows you to find more gold, and your beast blood gives you a 100% resistance to disease. This all means that this mod is great for role-playing as a werewolf in Skyrim, as the beast blood not only affects you in werewolf form, but also affects you when in human form, with the disease resistance, night vision and claws. At number 7 is the Atlantan race by Raxi X7, which should not be confused with the Atlantean race with an E. This new race is based on the tale of Atlantis, adding the powerful inhabitants of Atlantis to Skyrim as a new custom race. This new race is very much designed to be used as an unarmed build to add an alternative to the Khajiit, which was really the only viable unarmed race in the vanilla game. This is due to their raw physical power in terms of size and strength, giving them the ability to knock down anyone that stands in their way. However, where they excel in physical attributes, they are balanced out with very poor magical attributes. The name of the race is not based off of the commonly depicted version of Atlantis in human mythos, where the inhabitants live underwater, so the mod author, Raxi X7, chose a different spelling to try and highlight the fact that this version is not related. There is another version of this mod, which is spelled in the traditional way with an E and is related to the Atlantis in human myth, so they have water related abilities. This version of Atlantis can be found in Tamriel, however Raxi X7 doesn't really provide much background on what the Tamriel version of Atlantis actually is. You can check the Nexus page for the PC version of this mod if you want to learn more. One of the first things you will notice as an Atlantan is that you are taller than all of the other races in Skyrim. This is because males are 25% taller and females are 20% taller than usual. The Atlantan's base stats are 150 health, only 50 magicka and 150 stamina. They also have starting skill bonuses with an additional 10 points in heavy armor, two-handed, one-handed and light armor. They have 3 racial powers, which are Atlantan power, which for 30 seconds unlocks true Atlantan potential, making all power attacks drop enemies to the ground and doubling your physical damage. Kinetic charge, which uses 50 points of available stamina or magicka to allow you to move 40% faster for 10 seconds, and charging towards enemies will displace them and cause 50 points of damage. You also get swift swings, which uses 50 points of magicka or stamina to allow you to swing weapons 40% faster for 10 seconds. As I mentioned before, Atlantans are not gifted when it comes to magic, which means they have minus 50 magicka, minus 50% magicka regen, and their spells are 50% less effective. However, to make up for this, Atlantans have 25% resistance to physical and frost damage, they are immune to being knocked down, and they can regenerate 1% of their health per second, compared to the default 0.7% per second. Their strength also grants them 25% extra physical damage and stagger effect. Light melee attacks have a 25% chance to slightly stagger an enemy, and heavy melee attacks have a 20% chance to completely knock down an enemy. Unarmed damage is also auto-enhanced with every level, gaining an extra 10% damage output every 10 levels up to a maximum of level 100, which will double unarmed damage. And finally, due to the size of Atlantans, sneaking, lockpicking and pickpocketing is 25% harder, and the sound of their movement is 25% easier to detect. All of this leads to a very physically focused race that relies on brute physical force rather than their mind for magic or skill for sneaking. It's a perfect race for anyone looking to play an unarmed build, just watch out for awkward finisher animations on occasion due to the race's increased height. Up next is Amazing Race Tweaks by Spocrates. I'm sort of cheating on this one, because Amazing Race Tweaks isn't one mod, it's a series of mods that tweaks the powers, attributes and active effects of most of the existing races in Skyrim. These mods take the lore of each race and tailors their powers and abilities to match, often giving them new powers and active effects that suit the lore and provide a nice boost to that particular race, making them a little more powerful and much more unique. And because these mods don't actually add any new custom races, it shouldn't affect any of the quests that I mentioned at the start of this video. Currently on PS4, there are amazing race tweak mods for Nords, Dark Elves, Khajiits, Argonians, Wood Elves, High Elves, Bretons and Orcs. Sorry Imperial and Redguard fans. Let's use the Argonians as an example of how these mods change the races in Skyrim. Argonians now have starting stats of 130 health, 100 magicka and 100 stamina. Skill boosts have also been changed, with Argonians now having an additional 15 points in restoration, plus 10 points in sneak, and plus 5 points in destruction, light armor, lockpicking and pickpocket. Argonians have a few new powers as well, which are Hist Assist, reducing the cost of restoration spells by 20% for 60 seconds, Hist Skin, which regenerates health 10 times faster for 60 seconds, Shadow Scale, which for 120 seconds makes you 30% harder to detect, move silently, and do 6 poison damage per second. Sign of the Serpent paralyzes your target and does 5 points of poison damage per second for 5 seconds, and Underwater Vision allows you to see better underwater for 60 seconds. The active effects are Claws, which means Argonians do 12 more damage than a human's fist. Argonians have a 60% resistance to disease, they learn restoration skills 20% faster, they make poisons 25% stronger, their scales improve their armor rating by 10 points, and they can of course breathe underwater. Ever since I discovered these mods, I always use Amazing Race Tweaks on both PS4 and PC. It's one of my favourite mod series, and I'm sure you'll love it too. At the halfway stage, we have Epic Playable Nazgul Race by Imperial Agents 1992. As I'm sure a lot of people watching will have already worked out, this mod is heavily inspired by the Nazgul from The Lord of the Rings, with the lore and backstory taken straight from Middle-earth. When I first saw this mod, I really wasn't sure how Imperial Agents could possibly create a Nazgul without using external assets, but he managed it, by making the player character's body completely invisible and giving them black robes as their default clothing and a black hood that isn't replaced even when you put on a helmet. This creates a near perfect recreation of a Nazgul, which is such a brilliant idea. The Nazgul's starting base stats are 650 health, 250 magicka, and 350 stamina. The starting skill boosts give them plus 10 points in destruction, enchanting and sneak, plus 25 points in one-handed, two-handed and light armor, and plus 20 points in heavy armor. The Nazgul starts with the knowledge of 2 spells, Conjure Nazgul Horse, which allows you to conjure a dark horse that uses the same model as Shadowmere, and the Ice Spike Destruction spell. Nazgul also have a complete resistance to frost damage and a 50% weakness to fire damage. This race would be perfect for an evil, Daedra worshipping build that wields dark magic, dark weapons and necromancy. It's such a cool idea, and I just think it would make for a really fun playthrough. At number 4 we have Races, War and Mythos by Advent RPG. This is an offshoot of the Dark Isle, War and Mythos quest that adds some new races that are related to the lore and story of that mod. More specifically, it adds the Ancestral Spirit and Isle Argonian, Breton and Khajiit. The Isle Khajiit is a skilled rogue and archer, the Argonians are a lost tribe of heavy warrior smiths, and the Bretons are skilled in warcraft and spellcraft. However, I'm most interested in the Ancestral Spirit race as it allows you to play Skyrim as a ghost, which I think is awesome. That's pretty much the main reason why I've put this mod so high on this list. The Ancestral Spirit's base starting stats are 110 health, 110 magicka, and 110 stamina. They also have plus 10 points in sneak and conjuration, and plus 5 points in illusion, destruction, restoration, and alteration. Ancestral Spirits also have some existing knowledge of a few spells, which are Conjure Lesser Familiar, Detect Dead, Detect Life, Spirit Sense, which is basically clairvoyance, Spirit Vision, which allows you to see in the dark, Telekinesis, and Reanimate Dead. They also have the Dragon Skin power, allowing them to absorb 50% of the magicka from hostile spells for 60 seconds once a day. The active effects are Ghostly Aura, which is what makes you look like a ghost, immunity to disease, poison and drowning, and a 25% resistance to magic. I just think it's really cool that you can play as a ghost using this mod, and the active effects and spells are all quite interesting and fit in with the ghost theme. A cool mod, well worth a download, even if it's just for a bit of fun. At number 3 on this top 10 list, and taking the bronze medal, is Alidon's customizable Dremora race by, you guessed it, Alidon. This is another race mod that I just think looks really cool, and would be a lot of fun to play with a very unique look. The mod allows you to play as a Dremora, which is such a cool idea and would make for a really fun playthrough, just going through and playing all of the Daedric Prince quests. You would forgive Alidon for making a set Dremora look with minimal customization. However, you are actually able to customize your Dremora quite a bit, with lots of skin color options, different horns, and hairstyles. It's surprising just how much you can actually customize, allowing you to create your very own unique Dremora. The Dremora's starting attributes are the same as vanilla, 100 in all 3, however they do have skill boosts with plus 10 to two-handed, plus 5 to one-handed, destruction and heavy armor, and plus 25 to conjuration. Dremora have a unique power called Enrage, which highlights living beings around you, take half damage and do double damage for 40 seconds. You also have the Firebolt, Flames and Healing spells at the start, as well as 2 new spells that allow you to conjure a Daedric Sword or a Daedric Greatsword. As Dremora's souls are bound to oblivion, they also have longer lasting conjuration spells and do slightly more melee damage. When you start the game through the vanilla start, make sure you look out for a Dremora merchant near the end of the dungeon to buy some worn out Daedric armor to complete your Dremora aesthetic. This is a really neat mod with a surprising amount of customization, well worth a download. The penultimate mod on this top 10 list and taking the silver medal is Shades of Night by Windgaze. This mod adds a bunch of incredibly powerful werewolf and vampire races to Skyrim with unique and enhanced starting attributes, very powerful bonuses and powers, unique spells, and even custom looking beast forms. The different races are Blood Moon Sect Wolf, First Flame Vampire, Lunar Werewolf, Royal Blood Vampire, and Void Vampire. There is even a chest in Whiterun full of suitable armour and all of the spells from all of the different races, and there are a few very powerful followers that can be found in the Bannered Mare in Whiterun that use different races and spells added by this mod. All of these different races have some really unique and interesting spells and powers, such as the Blood Moon Sect Wolves powers, which include Blood Drain, a spell that sucks the blood out of your target, splattering it everywhere. They also get Blood Moon Blade, which summons the Blood Skull Blade, a powerful greatsword that shoots beams of damaging energy when power attacking. You also get Blood Vortex, which creates a raw blast of blood energy around your target, a Conjure Werewolf spell, a Conjure Blood Bow spell that shoots arrows infused with blood energy, and a spell called Old Demon Blood Bolt that fires a large blood beam that absorbs your target's health. The Lunar Werewolf can conjure frost-based weapons, and when entering beast form, they have a white frost-covered skin that just looks so awesome. This all comes together to create an awesome race mod that adds 4 incredibly powerful and unique races with powerful custom-made spells suited to their race and playstyle. If you are looking to roleplay as a powerful vampire or werewolf in Skyrim, capable of killing every living and undead creature you come across, then this mod is definitely for you. It would make the vampire questline in the Dawnguard DLC feel much more immersive, making you so much more powerful and worthy of the reputation and power vampires have in most fantasy worlds. And finally, the best race mod for Skyrim on PS4 taking the gold medal is Rebone Playable Skeleton Race by Cyan49. To put it simply, this mod should not exist on PS4. How Cyan49 has managed to make this mod even playable with no external assets is astonishing, and I absolutely love it. In the description, it says that Cyan49 had to adjust almost all of the clothes and armour in Skyrim to get them to work with this mod, which must have taken a lot of time and effort, but it really has paid off, allowing us to play as a skeleton that can actually wear armour. It's just awesome. The mod allows you to play Skyrim as a spooky scary skeleton that has been dead for an unknown number of years, possibly brought back to life by a powerful necromancer. However, only you can see yourself in true form. All others in Tamriel just see a normal looking human, but when you see yourself in the water's reflection, you know you are just bones. The skeleton's starting attributes are the same as vanilla, 100 in each. However, the skeleton's skill bonuses are plus 10 to illusion, conjuration and sneaking, and plus 5 to enchanting. They also start with a knowledge of the frostbite and raise zombie spells and can use the berserker rage power. Skeletons also have a 50% resistance to frost damage, 100% resistance to poison, and they can breathe underwater. However, they do take 50% more fire damage. This mod is so much fun to use, and as I said before, I really don't understand how it's possible on PS4. Cyan49 is a genius, and this mod definitely deserves to be number 1 on this list. That will take us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, and if you want to see more of my videos, I really would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. I'm also on Twitter and Facebook, just search Nayflar to find me, or use the links in the description if you want to follow me. Thank you so much to Klaus Demon and Wayne Savage for supporting the channel with a membership. I really appreciate it. If you also want to support me and help me make more and better videos, please consider joining the guild and becoming a channel member. Just press the join button and I'll give you a shout out at the end of all my videos to thank you for your support. I'll see you in the next one. May Talos guide you.